Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Series 7 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a really fun team featuring REGISTEEL. This team was built by Eric Rios, who's been one of the best players in Spain and in the world for the last couple of years, and he won a pretty big online grassroots tournament with this team this past weekend. So I've linked his Twitter and Twitch in the description below. Please go check him out. Really one of the best players, and he's come up with so many cool teams in the last couple of years, so I always like seeing, the new stuff that he comes up with. And this team on paper looks pretty standard, but of course it does have that REGISTEEL. So first of all, let's talk about REGISTEEL. Steel types in general in VGC Series 7 are pretty interesting because a lot of them are Pokemon often actually want to Dynamax, Pokemon like Kartana and Metagross, and they are significantly worse when they're not Dynamaxed. REGISTEEL is actually the complete opposite. It basically offers you a Steel type that's really strong as a non-Dynamax option, and it falls off as a Dynamax option. As a result, what you can do with REGISTEEL is basically use it to soak up pressure. Steel types in general are good just because of their typing against a lot of the format, and REGISTEEL is kind of similar to what Ferrothorn was like in pre-Series 7, right? So in the earlier formats with Iron Defense and Body Press. Similar concept here. REGISTEEL does get a little bit more damage output with that Flash Cannon, and yeah, has great bulk from both the special and the physical side. So the cool thing about this REGISTEEL is that if you ignore it and it gets a single Iron Defense boost off, it can be really, really difficult to take care of. But at the same time, this team also has multiple Pokemon that can boost their stats, right? You've got Swords Dance Landorus, Nasty Plot, Rotom, Calm Mind, Tapu Fini. So it's like if you leave any of these Pokemon unchecked for even one turn and they get a boost off, that can often just snowball the game very quickly, especially with Landorus and Rotom should they just Dynamax afterwards. So you've got so much flexibility in who you can Dynamax, who you can set up, and to round out the team, you've got dual Fake Out options with both Grimmsnarl and Rillaboom as well. One thing to really note about REGISTEEL is that it's already really, really bulky. If you add Intimidate, Burn, and Light Screen to the mix, it is so difficult to knock out. I've played 3 practice games with this team so far, and REGISTEEL basically has been the late game cleanup in every single match that I've played so far. So, it's actually super, super legit. It's not a Pokemon that a lot of people have used, and Eric was able to identify it as a really good meta pick at the moment, so props to him because, yeah, I was impressed by how strong this Pokemon was when I tried it out. You're often not going to be leading with it. The idea to often play around it, at least in my experience so far, is to try to save it for the late game. Obviously, REGISTEEL does not want to take any max moves from your opponent, so if you can basically stall out their Dynamax and then get REGISTEEL in with the Iron Defense, it can really put in so much work. A couple of other things to note here. You've got the Lumberry on Landorus as well as Swords Dance. You've got Will-O-Wisp on Rotom, which is actually really critical because physical attackers are obviously very common. Since you have dual Fake Out with this team, you can just leave Grimmsnarl, Rillaboom, go for Fake Out Will-O-Wisp immediately and shut down a physical attacker. That's especially huge if, that Pokemon ends up Dynamaxing on that turn. And the Grimmsnarl here is interesting as well because it doesn't have Reflect, but that's because you already have Intimidate and Will-O-Wisp on the team. So instead there's Taunt to help out against any potential, setup or Trick Room from the opposing end. So super interesting team. Thank you to Eric for it. Once again, check him out, linked in the description below. And thanks as always for watching. If you enjoy, please show your support by leaving a like, and let's get into today's episode. Question of the day, I want to know if you can design a brand new Regi form, what would it be? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what type it would be, if you can come up with a unique attack for it. I'm interested in all of that good stuff. It's interesting to see that, in Series 7, so many Regis are viable now, right? Like, the Regis in general weren't very popular in VGC at all since they really came out. But in Series 7 specifically, I mean, you guys know I'm a big fan of Regigigas, but we've also seen Regice. Not Regice, actually. That's the only one we haven't seen. Registeel, Regirock, Regieleki, Regidrago. We've seen all of that good stuff. This is a fascinating first team. Okay. There's a Coalossal. Do any of those Pokemon get Aqua Jet? Like, how does Steam Engine get activated here? That's definitely one of the most unique teams I've seen in Team Preview in a minute. Okay. We've got Taunt Grimmsnarl. I think this is a great REGISTEEL game. The one thing it has to watch out for, of course, is going to be the Coal. I like leading Grimmsnarl in general. This is a weird match because I honestly think we could get away with just leading REGISTEEL. Just as I was saying, you normally conserve it for the late game, like, it's probably safer to lead Fini here. Like, I can go easily lead Grimmsnarl, Fini, REGISTEEL in the back, and for the last one, Rotom or Landorus is what I'm debating, which it's probably Landorus here just because of the number of physical attackers my opponent has, but Landorus is kind of an odd bring if you're not Dynamaxing it, I think. Just because it's so much stronger as a Dynamax option. That being said, we could still max it. Like, what I could do is go Grimmsnarl, Fini, Fake Out Calm Mind, Dynamax Landorus, and then save REGISTEEL for the late game. I would have liked to lead Registeel, but the downside is that if my opponent just leads Coalossal, I don't know, that puts on a fair amount of pressure against Registeel in the early game, so yeah. It's going to be Aromatisse and Amoonguss. Okay. Honestly, I think I'm just going to taunt Amoonguss turn 1, Calm Mind Feeny turn 2, Light Screen, sorry, yeah. Taunt Calm Mind turn 1. Actually, I don't need to waste a taunt on the first turn, right? I can fake out. Because I always have taunt on the second turn. No, but if I taunt immediately, it allows me to just bring in Registeel in subsequent turn. Oh wait, I don't even need a taunt. Amoonguss, we have Misty Train now. Yeah, why don't I just Light Screen then? I'm just going to Light Screen Calm Mind turn 1. And honestly, just go out into Registeel, like ASAP. Or even Landorus. I mean, Trick Room probably goes up here, but, like, it's fine. I don't really care about Trick Room going up here, do I? Because what's sweeping me under Trick Room? Maybe those are famous last words. Like, my opponent has a lot of Pokemon that we don't see very often. Okay, they just go for Sludge Bomb, that's fine. It's pretty offensive Amoonguss, though, actually. That was a Calm Mind and with the Light Screen, and it still did as much as it did, which is kind of impressive. Okay, well, we've got Light Screen up. I don't think Registeel's in any immediate danger, so I'm content to switch into that and honestly just go for another Calm Mind here. Like, I don't think Feeny is taking very much damage right now. My opponent led very, very passively, so that doesn't scare me in the slightest. Okay, they switch out Amoonguss, which is fine. And Stakataka. Yeah, so I mean, this is where, like, I think Registeel really thrives. My opponent doesn't have much damage against it, and I think I can just start clicking Iron Defense at this point. Okay, so Reggie's activated. That's nice. And they're just going to Moonblast. That's fine. That is more than okay. Yep. This is the beauty of leftovers. Like, few Pokemon actually use leftovers, like, effectively, I feel like, in this format, but Registeel's definitely one of them. Because it allows you to just recover a little bit should you take in damage on switch-ins, like this scenario exactly. I honestly probably should just Dynamax Tapu Fini, right? Like, I'm content just going for an Iron Defense here, I think. Dynamaxing Fini. Oh, unless... Do you have a way to activate Weakness Policy here? Like, I don't think so, but I don't know. Either way, I'm definitely going to go for Iron Defense here. Yeah, I think it's fine to just Dynamax Fini and Max Geyser this turn. Because Stakataka should be the fastest thing on the field anyway, so even if you could activate a Weakness Policy, it wouldn't happen this turn, I don't think. And we've got +2 Max Geyser right now, so... I feel like things are looking pretty good right now. Registeel makes me feel a lot more confident. Maybe I should have just denied Trick Room going up outright. Actually, there was little reason to not fake out Aromatisse turn 1 and Calm Mind, right? I feel like I was just like, yeah. Like I got maybe a little too trigger happy, but yeah, I feel like little reason to not fake out Aromatisse on turn 1. Honestly, forget its full set of abilities, but I don't think it can avoid getting flinched. We have to double check that after the game. But they Dynamax Stakataka, no surprise there. Like, probably should have just, yeah. I mean, turn 1 definitely could have denied Trick Room. And they just Rockfall. Yeah, that's fine. That will give them the Sandstorm boost, I guess, but I think, like, now it's really difficult for them to deal with the Registeel. And Feeny takes that really well as well. So, once again, like, the beauty of this team is that, like, the main Pokemon you're using all can set up at any given point, which makes it so tough to deal with. My one fear now is Weakness Policy Stakataka. With the Sandstorm being up, perhaps it can survive a +2 Max Geyser. If I activate a policy, this gets a little bit dicier, but I'll probably just Max Guard Feeny next turn and just Body Press into Stakataka, to be honest. Okay, so we get the +2 Geyser off. Yeah, that takes it after the Sandstorm. Maybe Body Press would have just been better there. Don't know if that would have been enough for KO with the double up. Are you Weakness Policy? No, you're not. Oh, that's really good for us then. Okay. No policy is very, very good news for us. The safest play, honestly, is to just Max Guard Feeny here. I don't even know if I have to, though. Like, the main reason to Max Guard here is basically to avoid a potential crit from the Stakataka. Because if you don't crit us, we should survive a Rock Fall or a Steel Spike and heal back up anyway. How many turns of Trick Room are left, actually? Still 2. I'm also fairly confident of Body Pressure KO, so I think with my opponent not being policyed and us being at +2 defense with Registeel, I don't think my opponent can handle Registeel at this point. But they go for a very nice Max Guard. Okay, good play. We've only seen Trick Room and Moonblast from Aromatisse, so I still don't know what the rest of its attacks are, but it just commits a Moonblast into Feeny, which is fine. I think this next turn we can just pick up a double KO. So this is why I was really excited to bring out Registeel as early as I did in this game, because my opponent just did not have much offensive pressure against it. So I'll just Geyser into Aromatisse here, Body Press, and a Stakataka. Amoonguss is not going to do any damage into us in the late game, so we don't have to worry about that, which is good. If we don't get crit here, we should survive and heal back with our Berry. Brilliant. Okay, perfect. Even change the weather as well. So, yeah, I really wanted to see Dragonite, Coalossal, and the Buzzwole, because those are all Pokemon. Well, the Coalossal we've seen a lot of, but I was curious how Coalossal fit into my opponent's team here. Ooh, they have Heal Pulse. Okay, that's pretty cool. For that reason, I actually maybe should have doubled up on a Stakataka. I don't know if +2 Body Press KOs here. I don't think it does. Oh, it does. Never mind. Registeel's a beast. And, you know, talking about Steel types, if you think about it, Registeel actually has such a favorable matchup against most of the popular Steel types. You've got Kartana, Metagross, Stakataka. Like, all of those, even Dynamax can't deal with Registeel super well. Geyser does not pick up the KO on Aromatisse, but that's fine. We've seen Moonblast, Trick Room, Heal Pulse. Those are all pretty standard attacks. Curious on the 4th here. But Trick Room's over, Terrain's over in our Dynamax sense, so now I can just Muddy Water and Body Press away. See, this is the thing with Registeel as well. Like, I like it more than Ferrothorn in previous formats because, one, Ferrothorn, like, hard lost to Fire-type attacks in general, especially special Fire-type attacks, but with Registeel, even, like, Rotom-H isn't that, like, any non-Dynamax move you can survive, especially if you have screens, or Light Screen or the, what I want to say, Light Screen or the Intimidate or the Burns Off, right? So, what's potentially their last one? Okay, the smartest play here is probably to actually... Well, no, I don't want Trick Room to go up again, I suppose. So I'll just Muddy Water here. And Flash Cannon, that covers for a Follow Me option. And in case I miss. Like, I think we're so far ahead in this game. Amoonguss doesn't put on any offensive pressure. We actually do miss, but it's on the Amoonguss, okay. Yeah, this play covers every option, unless... But if you go for Rage Powder and I miss, then you can get Trick Room up again, but, like, it's fine. So, Registeel gets the Flash Cannon off. Pretty good chip damage there, actually. And they are going to commit the Spore here onto Tapu Fini, which I'm okay with. It makes sense, because Fini's boosted up right now, and the rain is up as well. Wonder if, like, Coalossal's my opponent's last one. Either way, what I want to do now is probably protect Registeel, switch the Fini out. Oh, it's actually Buzzwole. That's pretty cool. Since I have Lum actually in the back on Registeel, or sorry, on Landorus, I'm just going to protect and switch out into Landorus right now. That gets an Intimidate off against the Buzzwole as well, and I can actually potentially even Swords Dance. Or I can just switch back out into Fini the next turn to get the terrain up so that you can't put the Registeel to sleep. So, this is what I mean, right? Even with super effective damage, Registeel still isn't that scared, especially if it's physical super effective damage, because you can just get a single Iron Defense off, but... Yeah, I feel like Fini was also just really good into my opponent's team, which is why, like, it ended up being a pretty good lead. You know, not only does it counter the Amoonguss' spores, but also just kind of hard shuts down my opponent, and my opponent didn't have good super effective damage into it. But Registeel complemented it really, really well for us here. I don't know Buzzwole's full moveset, so does it have any setup? No, it just goes for high horsepower. That's interesting over a fighting type attack, but perhaps it doesn't want a superpower in that position. Nice read on the Fini switch. They do call correctly and spore the Landers, but I have the Lum here, so it doesn't really make a difference. Which is why this was always a super safe switch in. So now I'm just going to bring Landorus back out into Fini and probably just go for another Iron Defense here. Yeah. Once we get the terrain up, we should be good. We've got Taunt on the Grimmsnarl as well in the back, and we can continue cycling in for Intimidate. So it's just kind of slow right now because I don't have a way to easily knock out Amoonguss in one hit right now. Like, my best attack would be Fly from the Landorus, but that's not great. But with terrain being up now, like, Amoonguss really doesn't do anything, especially against Registeel. One of the other reasons why Registeel is so good right now. You know, hard walls a lot of things, and yeah, high horsepower there does a total of 24 damage? Yeah. Now we get another Iron Defense. And with recovery from leftovers, like, it literally cannot be... you can crit it, actually. That's my opponent's win con at this point. As they continue to spore the Landorus slots, so good play there. Could have gone for a Fly there, but yeah, it's fine. Light Screen wears off, but we don't need it at this point. I'm just going to go for a third Iron Defense, and I am going to switch out into Landorus again. Yeah. I could just Body Press at this point. I'm curious. Let's see how much damage Body Press does. I don't know my Body Press calcs well at all here. And the reason I'm switching out here, by the way, is because I don't want the Buzzwole to get a Beast Boost, so might as well keep intimidating it. When you have a numbers advantage like this, there's little reason to keep cycling through. The only downside is, of course, if your opponent makes an incredible read. So just ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario? If they double up into whatever's coming in, could they, like, pull back the game from where it is right now? And in this position, I don't think so. Even if they went for, like, Ice Punch onto Landorus, it's fine. But they just commit high horsepower. That's interesting. I feel like their fighting type attack is probably superpower, so they probably just don't want to lower their attack and their defense further. Okay, body press really does not do that much. Granted, it resists, so that's part of the reason, but it's fine. Rain stops. Terrain is still up. We have leftovers. Yeah, this game's dragging on a little bit longer than it needs to be, but it's okay. I think I'll just fly here. Yeah, I'll go for a third Iron Defense. Flash Cannon's not doing that much here anyway, so like I'm content to go for a fly onto Buzzwole. It's probably AV Buzzwole if I had to guess, but I don't know. There's really nothing my opponent can do though, because you can't KO Registeel. Your only way to KO Registeel is to hope for a crit on this close combat hit, but they don't hit it. Well, I guess any close combat hit can do it, but even if you crit CC, I actually don't know if that one-shots Registeel, to be honest. So, yeah. I mean, it's dragging on here just because, like, I don't have, like I said, an effective way to just cleanly knock out my opponent's Pokemon right now, especially because of the resist that they have, but it probably would have been smarter to just fully set up with Registeel. I wanted to just see how much damage we did with Body Press earlier, but yeah. I'll just Body Press, double up on Buzzwole. You have to Rage Powder here, otherwise Fly just gets redirected in a Buzzwole. I guess my opponent can prolong this if they have Protect, but they don't. Okay, Fly hits. Nice. That's a KO. And the reality is that, like, Registeel was just so good right from the start here. So, all our other Pokemon did work, right? Like, obviously, Landorus and Feeny were both really essential here, but the reality is that my opponent had no way to beat the Registeel from the beginning of the game. And that's, once again, one of the upsides of this Pokemon. If you can get your opponent to commit their Dynamax earlier on, and like, it's a Dynamax that doesn't threaten Registeel, Registeel can come out, get a single Iron Defense off, and then just go to town from there. So, we managed to get to +6 defense this game, I believe, right? Yeah. +6 defense. And I think my opponent basically needed Coalossal in this game. They had no way to deal with it otherwise. And even with Coalossal, like, Feeny covers the Fire-type weakness of Registeel really, really well, right? I think, like, one thing that's really smart about this team, and this is just a component to good team building, is covering for, like, your Pokemon's weaknesses, right? So Registeel doesn't want to go up against Fire types typically. What does this team have? Tapu Fini and Landorus. Tapu Fini and Landorus both are really, really good against the majority of Fire types that are in the format right now. So you kind of have that coverage to really mitigate some of the weaknesses that you may run into. And that's absolutely huge in this position. So we get a nice win there. Thinking about what else we could have done better, I don't know. I feel like the team matchup was just very heavily in our favor. Like, it was always going to be tough for my opponent to win that. I feel like they didn't even make any misplays. And talk about more interesting teams. Wow, that is a Mono Psychic team. Okay. Well, Mono Psychic, we have Registeel. Registeel resists Psychic last time I checked the type chart, so that's good. Interesting. Okay. These are, like, very interesting teams to run into, especially, like, higher up on the ladders. That's pretty cool. Props to our opponents. They're really bringing the heat. But I think this is another good Registeel game. Who did Dynamax, I guess, is the question. Rotom's actually interesting, because it helps out against Metagross, Slowbro. Calm Mind Feeny's not bad here. Like, I might just go the same mode. Okay. I definitely don't bring Landorus into this matchup. It's really bad into everything, so that doesn't come. But definitely want Registeel. And then it's between Rillaboom and Rotom. Rillaboom would come out mainly for Lele. Actually, the more I look at it, the more I think it's not a good idea. I think it's just going to be Rotom here. But we've seen a lot of those Pokemon in isolation, but obviously not all combined. Actually, like, because it's a pure Psychic team, there's enough justification to bring Rillaboom solely for terrain. But you do so little damage and everything. Plus, like, I don't know, the risk of Lele being in the back and switching in as you go for Fake Out or a Glide could be bad. Okay, it's going to be Lele and Malamar. Huh. Let's see how fast their Tapu Lele is here. Because if we get terrain up first, that's bad news for us. Okay, good, good, good. I figured, like, Lele would be slower here, but... Sorry, Feeny would be slower here, but... Fun fact, in VGC 2017, I actually played Shoma Honami, the 2015 World Champion, in the finals of, like, a invitational grassroots event. And one of the big swings in that matchup was that his Feeny, like, the way the terrain interacted meant that his terrain would go up second, and so it would be the terrain that was up. There's also a garbage truck outside right now, so I apologize if you can hear that. Is Malamar gonna max here? Like, I feel like I could just fake out Calm Mind. Or just Light Screen. I think Light Screening here is also fine. Like, early Light Screen's so good against my opponent's team, right? Like, look at the number of... Okay, they are gonna Dynamax. Is it a Lele max? I was gonna say, you look at the amount of special attackers that they have. They have Tapu Lele, Slowbro, Latias. Wow, it is Dynamax Malamar. Okay, I did not see that coming. I also just haven't seen a Malamar in a minute, so... Definitely some fun teams we're going up against today. I always love playing against these teams just because it's like, win or lose, it's always a really fun match, and I love to see how like people build these really unique teams and sets. Okay, so we get screens up. Oh, okay, that's neat. That may be a problem. Huh. Now the upside is that I can taunt next turn, but I might just get one shot here. They probably max Psychic. Oh no, max Strike. How much does that do? That is a lot of damage. And we're at -1 speed now. So I wonder if Grimmsnarl outspeeds us now. Wow, that was so cool. I didn't even know Tapu Lele got Charm. I should have like started thinking as soon as the game started, like, do you have any way to decrease her stats? But I did not give that much thought. Now, I have +1 Starfall into this thing, which is obviously somewhat valuable. I've got a Rotom in the back. I think I will Taunt here, because I don't want to get Charmed again. Taunt, Dynamax, and Starfall here. What this allows me to do is survive an attack from the opposing end, and retaliate back with a +1 Starfall. Yeah. Okay. That's a really interesting strategy. I wonder if you're Scarf Lele then, because I feel like you typically want to be with a strategy like this, because otherwise if you run into something that just outspeeds Lele and one-shots it, that's a big problem, right? But Malamar is a really strong Dynamax option. I didn't even really think about that starting this match as to like what the main max... I thought it would just be like Metagross, for example. Yeah, okay, so they go for another Charm, which is good, and they're going to Max Strike again, which is fine. As long as we don't get crit here, it's fine. So much damage still, but we survive, which is the main thing. I mean, if +1 Starfall just KOs here, like, I think the game's honestly over and we win because we have Registeel in the back. But even if we don't KO, it's fine. Like, ideally, you're in KO range from a Spirit Break. Ah, that is not in KO range from a Spirit Break, though. That's a problem. I wonder if the play is actually to switch out Feeny here. Which feels so bad, but, like, the reason I do that... Why would I do that? So then I outspeed Malamar in subsequent turns. Spirit Break. Like, Max Guard Spirit Break is pretty safe here, but they could read into the Max Guard and target Grimmsnarl. I really do think you definitely switch out Lele here, I think, in my opinion. You'd have to go into Psychic type, maybe Metagross. I'm gonna commit the Max Guard here. Oh, they don't switch out. Okay, then you're not Scarf Lele then, which means you're Moonblasting? Or Psychicking, okay. I wish I did a little bit more there, but they do double up into Feeny, which is really good for us. This is a really cool strat. That's so much damage, but not enough. So close. We give it a special attack boost, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, now what do we do? I don't think a Psychic KOs us here, which is good. So you actually have to double up on a Feeny for a KO. So actually, I think it's fine to just double up on a Malamar here, because they did max 1 turn earlier than us. Is there a reason to Geyser in this game? Do they have Fire-type attacks? They could potentially. Yeah. So Spirit Break Geyser here works. How would I have played against this differently if I knew what was coming my way? Training Kiss Tapu Lele, wow. That's cool too. Giga Impact was their normal type attack. I guess they really couldn't have gone for anything else there. Okay, but this is fine, right? Because we have Registeel in the back, and I still have Light Screen up, so I actually feel pretty good about my position, all things considered. Like, the main thing we needed to avoid here was getting swept by Malamar. And we were able to avoid that, so that's good. Okay, their taunt wears off, but terrain is still not up, which is good. I'm gonna bring in Registeel right now. Rotom could actually be a decent bring as well. But I think Registeel is going to want to force Lele to switch out, which works in our favor. Is that Latias? No, it's Slowbro. Rotom would have been a bit better there. It's okay. I'm gonna Iron Defense with Registeel right now. Try to get that boosted up. Are they gonna Trick Room? I don't think so. I don't want to switch Grimmsnarl out. We do have Light Screen up. I'm gonna Spirit Break, yeah, and Iron Defense the Registeel right now. Because I do think ooh, okay, they have Taunt. Wow, Taunt, Charm, Draining Kiss, Psychic. Huh. Fascinating. I wonder what the item on that is. Okay. Oh my goodness. What is this? Wow, that's fun. Okay, Misty Terrain. I mean, I have Rotom in the back, so I'm actually not too worried about faring up against that, but I think it's going to be Spirit Break and Flash Cannon here. Slowbro is Oblivious, right? I just want to double check that real quick. Yeah, it should be Oblivious. I guess you could run Own Tempo or Regenerator here. Yeah, they switch out Lele that turn. Nice plays. Okay, it's Galarian Articuno is the last one. Oh my goodness, wait, I just Spirit Breaked it. Which means I'm gonna give it a boost now. This game's hilarious. I really didn't think Taunt would be the last attack on Lele. I should have taunted the Taunt. Okay, I give it a competitive boost, but it's honestly not that bad. Like, I'm not too nervous about that. And they are Body Press indeed. That did a lot to Grimmsnarl, admittedly. Okay. We still have 2 turns of Light Screen. 1 turn of Taunt. 2 turns of Light Screen. I don't think I switch out Grimmsnarl. I think I have to let Rotom be my last one. Guess it's gotta be Flash Cannon here. Wow. This team had all the crazy stuff. And that's the thing, if you run like a team that's a little bit more gimmicky, like this is clearly a mono psychic team, you're gonna need like tricks to catch your opponents off guard. Like that's what really thrives in a format like this. We go for another Iron Defense, okay. Gosh, now the question is, what item do you have on that thing? Is it Wakandberry? Because if not, like Thunderbolt should maybe just do enough to KO. I don't really think Articuno is actually that scary. We shake off the Taunt too, which is good. What did the Lele have in the back? Draining Kiss, Psychic, Taunt, and Charm. So that thing's not really a threat to us at all. Well, it's a threat to Rotom, so I shouldn't say it's not a threat at all. But that also looks like AV on Articuno, but I don't know my calcs well enough with Registeel to actually tell. I will T-Bolt here, I think. And kind of want an Iron Defense here, because I don't think a Flash Cannon KOs into Articuno anyway. I guess the defense doesn't really help, though, because my opponent's team is all special, but... Alright, they go for Shadow Ball. If you have Shadow Ball, I feel like you're probably AV. But it's not enough for it to... Oh, they get a Spadef drop. That could be huge. That's not what we wanted to see. And the Slowbro hangs on. Oh my goodness. Okay, a double up definitely would have been better there. But I still think let Registeel actually still solos through this game at this point. Okay, they go for Body Press onto Rotom. It's enough for a KO, but I don't think my opponent does enough damage onto Registeel with any of their Pokemon right now. Like, I'm pretty sure we can just Body Press everything. So, depends on what Articuno's moveset is here. They are at +1. Light Screen does wear off here as well, which is kind of scary, but if I doubled up onto the Slowbro here, things may have been a little bit better. I think I have to knock out Slowbro here, though, because if it heals, we're really doomed. I probably should have gone for Flash Cannon there instead. They just go for Air Slash. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're Assault Vested there, if that's the case. Pretty good damage, actually. We don't flinch, though, which is good. This thing has, like, 5 HP. Yeah, it's gone. Okay. Alright, it's all down to Registeel now. Let's see if we can pull it off. Lele's going to come out. Psychic Train's going to go up. I'm going to protect this next turn for Leftovers Recovery. They're probably just going to Taunt. And they have a fair amount of special attacks right now with Psychic. So, I don't know if... It depends on how much damage Registeel does into everything right now. Because we're going to be taunted too, and that's the main problem. That first taunt was really brilliant. And I should have thought about that being Lele's last attack. I just, like, had no idea what to expect from this team. So, no shame in losing here, even if we do. Like, my opponent had some really cool stuff. Yeah, you just probably go for, what, Freezing Glare plus Psychic? No, Freezing Glare plus Taunt this turn. Actually, I don't even know if they commit to Taunt, but they should, because you don't want me to protect Stall with lefties. Oh, they go for Air Slash instead, okay. Oh, I wonder if Body Press does more damage than Flash Cannon right now. I honestly think the answer is yes. Oh, wait, no, but Articuno has 4x resist, isn't it? Psychic and flying? Oh, no, we have to Flash Cannon it then, don't we? The problem is I don't think it's enough for a KO. Would Flash Cannon one-shot Lele? There's no way. I shouldn't have gone for the body press, or sorry, the Iron Defense earlier then. I should have just Flash Cannon to two-shot the Articuno. I think that's too much damage. Did they taunt here? Yeah, they do. Wow, this was... Oh, and we flinch. Okay, that actually seals up the game then, I think. We needed a damage there. What a cool team, though. Registeel almost pulled it back here. I think the turn I Iron Defense, I could have either just KO'd the Slowbro or KO'd the Articuno. They did get that special defense drop, so Rotom was probably going down anyway, though. But, like, if they didn't get that... Because, like, you know, my opponent's odds weren't that great there. The Articuno switching was great, too, to get that special attack boost. Like, that was super, super nice as well. So I think Flash Canning into Articuno would have been better, but in the end, we needed to not get Spadef dropped or flinched, and both of those happened anyway, so this probably would have been a lost game regardless. And when you go for Air Slash as many times as you do it, like, from my opponent's position, like, the odds are in your favor, right? Reggie's not taking that much right now, though. Yeah, if we actually didn't flinch, I think we would have won this game. Unless Flash Canning KOs? Oh, it's so close. Can we win this? Is there any chance? I really wasted going for that Iron Defense earlier. Like, I totally forgot. Like, there's no reason to be clicking Body Press in this late game. If they missed Air Slash there, maybe there's a chance. How much does Psychic do here? 63 down to 30. Yeah, it's not enough. Unless we crit Flash Cannon onto Lele. That's the win con right now. If we didn't flinch, we actually would have won this as well. But, you know, I should have just played better instead of going for that. Because there's no reason to ever go for a Body Press win con in this late game. Taunt does wear off, though. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I forgot Taunt wears off this turn, which means I can just Protect right now. Wait, I think Registeel might actually be able to claw this one back. They forfeit! Wait, they didn't need a forfeit there immediately. They still had Taunt and Psychic crits. Potentially, and Spadef drops. Oh, I totally forgot. I thought there was one more turn of Taunt there in the end. That was a crazy game. This is the power of Registeel. I just, like... Yeah, I feel like I misplayed that a little bit. I've never seen Charm Tapu Lele, like, ever. Like, that's actually the first time I've ever seen that, so... Like, the gear should have been grinding in my brain a little bit as soon as I saw Lele and Malamar as the lead. Should have been asking myself, like, oh, what does this actually do? But, Registeel's clutch there. Literally 3v1 in that endgame. So, this Pokemon is legit. Alright, this one's a little bit more standard of a team. Tailwind stuff, obviously, might be Brutal Swing, Tornadus. I think it's a Grimmsnar's just such a good lead with this team, man. Grimmsnar Landorus here is a little bit tempting, because what I can do is just fake out Rockfall or Sword Stance. But Rotom's also very good here. The problem with Rotom is potential Landorus on the opposing end. It's also weird, because like Feeny looks okay, but at the same time, is it really? Against Rotom and Koko, I'm a little bit hesitant. And I guess in the back of my head, I've been committing to bringing Registeel, but this might not be the best game for Registeel into a Rotom and a Koko. Urshiu can crit through with Wicked Blow as well, so I might play a little bit more standard here. I don't know. Every time I count Registeel out, I feel like it can potentially thrive. But how would I bring it here is the question. Because I feel it's pretty difficult to set up against my opponent's team here. Okay, I'm gonna go Grimmsnarl, Rotom, Landorus, Feeny. Play a little bit more standard here, but the reason I don't like Registeel here is because my opponent's team is rather fast-paced and offensive, and they actually have a lot of setup on their side, right? Like, Rotom can obviously... They have Rotom and Landorus, so those can Nasty Plot and Sword Dance, respectively. So, because of those being threats, I want to basically deny them through setup, and the thing that Registeel doesn't do well is deny setup, right? Like, Registeel's kind of passive, it sticks on the field, wants to go for Iron Defenses of its own, but if you go up against opposing setup, that's really bad. My opponent's going to go with Landorus and Metagross. Okay, interesting. You could actually self-activate a weakness policy here with Earthquake, which is kind of rare, but definitely could happen right now. Honestly, the play I want to go for is switch my Grimmsnarl out into Landorus, get an Intimidate off, and Will-O-Wisp here, because Will-O-Wisp is super good. Against these two Pokemon, actually, Registeel would have killed it. See, the thing is, I could go for Fake Out here, but it entails of calling who the right Pokemon to Fake Out is. The safest play is probably switch into Lando here, Will-O-Wisp. I can see them going for a U-turn, though. You should go for a U-turn here, actually. I would switch Metagross out and then U-turn Landorus out as well. I'm gonna play it safe turn 1. I'm gonna switch out into my Landorus and Will-O-Wisp the Metagross. I think, like, this covers all the options. Like, what I'm if I'm in my opponent's shoes... Actually, this is another big point about this team. I think a lot of people just don't respect Will-O-Wisp on Rotom anymore. If they Dynamax Metagross turn 1, I think they are in a lot of trouble here, but it doesn't make that much sense to max Metagross in front of a Rotom. Okay, they protect and... Okay, so it looks like they're swapping out Landorus maybe for a U. So I could have gone Fake Out Will-O-Wisp on the Landorus, but... Oh, they just Rock Slide instead. Okay, interesting. A flinch would actually work in our favor here, because it does not reveal the Will-O-Wisp. But we don't flinch. That's fine. Here's the thing. I can Dynamax my Landorus now. And Airstream. I really should have doubled up on the Landorus, I guess, but I don't know. Felt a little risky. I could get really greedy here in Swords Dance. Like, the play I want to make here, honestly, is Swords Dance and Will-O-Wisp. Because if this Landorus gets the Swords Dance off, it kind of just one-shots everything on my opponent's team. But they might Dynamax Landorus this turn. Yeah, okay. I don't know if that's the best play, because my opponent could Dynamax Landorus, Rockfall Rotom, Ice Punch Landorus. But would you really stay in with the Metagross against a Landorus and a Rotom and not max it is the question? They're switching out Landorus, so this is already a really good start for us. And they bring out Koko. This is really good then, I think. Oh, well, they might max Metagross here. That's definitely a possibility, but it's okay. Yeah, they're gonna max Metagross. I'm okay with that. I mean, burning a Dynamax physical Pokemon is so good for us. And maybe we could have brought Registeel out. Like, given the 3 that my opponents revealed so far, Registeel actually would have been pretty good. But honestly, like, I didn't feel like it was super consistent in this matchup. So it's a good example of how you don't need to always force it. Mainly because, I don't know, the Koko was what concerned me a little bit, as well as the Rotom on my opponent's team. I suspect we'll get Hailstormed here, but it's fine. They probably will still... Oh, I wonder if they're Lumberry. Lum would explain this play a lot on their end. No, they're not. Okay. Let's see if this one-shots. I think it still does. Yeah. So Swords Dance was a little greedy there, but I don't regret going for it, because, like, the worst case is that you knock out Landorus, but then I burn you, right? And I honestly think that's not a bad worst case at all. Burning a Dynamax threat is huge for us, because now I can just bring the Feeny immediately. And I have the Nasty Plot on Rotom as well. Actually, there's merit into thinking about bringing the... Yeah, I think I bring out Grimmsnarl here first, actually, so I can Fake Out and Nasty Plot. Although I'm fairly confident that that was banned in Landorus, because that Rock Slide did like 40% to this Feeny. Or sorry, to this Rotom. Yeah, I'm going to Fake Out Koko here and call the Nasty Plot. Do I Dynamax Rotom? I think so. Because Feeny does well into Burnt Metagross, Landorus in the back, especially with Recovery. I could have just brought Feeny out right here and just gone for a Calm Mind as well. That may have been a better play, because I think Max Feeny looks pretty good into my opponent's team, but I'm fine with this as well, I think. Now they flinch. We get a Plot off. Rotom at +2 kind of one-shots everything my opponent has right now. Wonder if I should have Dynamax Landorus in this game. I don't know about that, though. They Steel Spike, which is fine. Should survive this. Not with much HP, actually, but it's okay. Like, it's fine to give up the Grimmsnarl here, I think, and Dynamax the Rotom. Flare into the Koko. I guess I could Flare into Metagross, but I don't see much reason to conserve Grimmsnarl at this point in the game. Like, it's done its job. I just wonder if... Yeah, I'm trying to think if I had, like, objectively better plays, but let's just Light Screen for now. Actually, do they have anything that threatens Rotom with the KO? They've already revealed Rock Slide. Oh, I guess there could be Urshifu in the back. That actually could be a problem. And a reason to not Dynamax Rotom. But I feel like I kind of have to here, because if I don't, I take far too much damage. This doesn't feel good, though. Like, I think I should have brought Feeny out, yeah. And just Calm Minded. What I probably actually should have done was, instead of Grimmsnarl coming out, I bring in the Tapu Feeny, and then switch the Rotom out into the Grimmsnarl, protect Feeny, so then I can Fake Out the Koko next turn and then Calm Mind. I think that would have been a better line of play in this late game. I I didn't really think about Urshiu being the last one, and the problem is that Landorus plus Urshiu are going to do a lot of damage into Rotom. That double up might just be enough for a KO, even though we're Dynamaxed. Oh, they maxed guard Metagross. Okay. See, here's an interesting, like, example of how, like, we actually want the Metagross to be out on the field. We don't want to just get, like, greedy and KO it. And they Volt Switch. Okay, that's fine by me. That's actually more than okay with me, because the reality is that Koko is the least threatening thing to my Rotom right now. It's Life Orb, too. So, yeah, you often see me do this where I don't intentionally pick up a KO, because sometimes if a Pokemon, like, just doesn't have much offensive pressure, whether it be because it doesn't have great offensive attacks or because its stats are decreased, like, it just really, really falls off in the late game. So you can effectively force Pokemon VGC battles to be kind of like 2v1 in the sense that, like, you kind of just ignore this one Pokemon, let it stick on the field. What is it ever going to do to you? Not much to threaten you, right? And I think that Volt Switch is actually kind of a misplay from my opponent's end, because while you conserve the Koko, I think Landorus is a lot more essential in knocking out this Rotom in the late game. But I guess if you are... Maybe I'm wrong in thinking that was Banded Landorus. Maybe you are Banded Urshiu in the back. Although if you're Banded Urshiu, I can just protect Rotom Moonblast, I think. So I'm really happy to see that, honestly, because I think the Landorus honestly scared me a fair amount in this endgame. And this is why Will-O-Wisp is so essential in this Rotom. Being able to burn a physical attacker while it's Dynamaxed, especially in the first turn, is just huge. Shuts it down for so many turns afterwards. Now, like, Metagross was scary here, but it was never posing a threat to Rotom, which is our main Pokemon we're using here, right? And they bring out Koko, which I'm happy to see, because Feeney's just going to change the terrain immediately. Only question here is what do I want to do with Feeney? Like, it's pretty safe to protect the Feeney, but I honestly also don't think you knock us out right now. So, like, I could just go Calm Mind, Flare into Koko, and I actually think that might be the best play. The reason why I like Calm Minding here is because Koko might protect or Hard Switch here. Actually, I wonder if a +2 Max Flare just KOs right now. I don't think it does, but... With the Berry, I think, yeah, Calm Mind is really safe here. And, like I said, Metagross does no damage whatsoever right now, so I just, like, really don't care about that. Yep, and they protect. Beautiful. So the only play that we lost to here is if they crit us with Thunderbolt, but, like, you know, the odds of that are so slim, and they have to, like, correctly go for that as well. We one-shot Koko anyway, and we were the one to get the crit. Okay, that was obviously kind of fortunate, but I think this was a pretty winning position anyway. It really comes down to what my opponent's last one is, because like I said, I think their win con was basically to have two Pokemon that threatened my Rotom together in combination. But I guess I also could have made it so that they never get those two Pokemon out at the same time, because I'm just going to attack around the Metagross like I'm doing, and just ignore it right now. Wonder if they have weakness policy on that. I mean, they have Protect, and if you have Protect, it means you're not Assault Vest. It is Urshiu in the back, so yeah, I think, like, if my opponent just sacrificed their Koko and the Metagross and then get Landorus and Urshiu next to each other, they had a better shot at winning this. But Feeney would have done really well into Urshiu and Landorus, so this was still a decent endgame for us, I think. I'm just going to Moonblast and Flare here into Urshiu. You don't think Crit Wicked Blow should knock out either here. It may have been safer to protect the Rotom, actually. Yeah. Okay, we do survive. Nice. The reason why I was going to say it's safer to protect Rotom there is because even if you are... The only way you can knock out Feeney with Urshiu is with a Poison Jab, and if you're Poison Jabbing, typically that means you're Choice Banded. Pretty sure that was Banded Urshiu, by the way. Wait, no. Sorry. I thought the ban was on Landorus. I don't know if that was banded damage onto us. I really have no idea. I gotta do the damage calcs afterwards. Like, maybe I just took more from Rock Slide than I was expecting. But yeah, Rotom was incredible in this match. Like, this was a kind of standard VGC match. We didn't bring REGISTEEL out. This was, you know, the first two teams were definitely a lot more eccentric than this one. But I think this one just shows how this team fares really well against a lot of common Metamons, right? Like, being able to set up screens, I guess wasn't that valuable for us in this game specifically. But it helped out against Koko potentially. Main thing was basically the Will-O-Wisp on Rotom. Like, I think, once again, people kind of just undermine the importance of being able to burn your opponent's Pokemon in a format that has so many physical Pokemon. And I think because Rotoms now so often are just like Nasty Plot, Overheat, Thunderbolt, Protect, people kind of forget about the Will-O-Wisp option. So, by bringing that out, you can really catch opponents off guard, and it can pay off huge. So, nice set of wins here. I think the first one was just the matchup difference. Like, I think it was really tough for my opponent to do very much in that one. Feeney and REGISTEEL just kind of completely rolled over that team. Even if they played perfectly, I really don't know how many options they had, and that's just the reality of Pokemon. Sometimes you run into bad matchups, we were on the positive end of that, so we were lucky to run into good matchups. In that second match, we, I mean, I definitely should have expected a lot more. Like, I just did not see the Charm combination coming off. I should have expected Taunt on Lele as its last attack, so I could have taunted Lele the turn it taunted me. Also, I just never needed to go for Iron Defense. I just needed to click Flash Cannon against everything. So, a bunch of misplays in that one, but it was also like, when you go up against like really unexpected teams, sometimes like you just play worse because you have no idea what to expect from your opponent, and that's always like fun, but also scary. And then this match, I feel like the early burn on the Dynamax Metagross just paid off huge for us. I was kind of surprised to see them commit the Dynamax on a Metagross. That's why I was saying like I was expecting them to swap around so that they don't get burnt. But even though we lost the Landorus, you know, we basically traded it for a burn on the Metagross, and then we were able to leverage our Dynamax with the Rotom. I'm not sure this game was really the cleanest, though, because like I said, had my opponent just like had Landorus and Urshiu next to each other, both of those would have outsped Rotom and KO'd it, so I maybe played a little bit too aggressively with the Landorus, but I think that's one of the beautiful things about this team as well. You have so many Pokemon that can set up, and all of them can carry you to a victory, so even if you lose one, the others can, you know, sweep through afterwards, and it's about using one kind of to divert attention away from the other often, so yeah. That's going to be it for this episode. Had a lot of fun with this one, so thank you so much to Eric once again for the team. Check him out, linked in the description below. Thank you so much as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all next time. Alright, peace.